Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we're going to be going into a Godot tutorial. I actually covered this topic a little while back, but enough has changed that is definitely worth revisiting. What we're going to be looking at is playing sound and music in Godot. I'm going to be using the most current stable version of Godot, which is Godot 3.2.3 as of the time of recording. And another reason I'm doing this is there is a Humble Bundle on literally right now. There's 1 day left, and I said I would show you how to use these assets in a Godot game. So here I am. I'm giving you plenty of time to consider this bundle because you have exactly 1 day remaining. So all the sound effects we are going to be using in this example come from the Music and Sound Effects 2 bundle. So if you already picked it up, you can follow along. If you haven't, don't worry. Just grab, you're going to need like an MP3 or an OGG Vorbis and a couple of WAV files to follow along, or you can use some of the assets like we are going to use here. So in the bundle, obviously, I've purchased it already. We're going to go ahead and grab something. We'll start with orchestral music. So we're going to start with a music pack. I'll go ahead and let that download, and we'll head on over and create our new project. I'm going to use a really straightforward user interface, bare minimum that I can do here. So I got my 2D scene created, a node as my root, and I'm going to go ahead and create a center container like so, and we will size that out to, I don't know, what's the default? 1080 and 600? Nope, not quite. So 1,000? All right, thereabouts here. I just want to use up the whole viewport of the default. All right, there we go. So here is our container, and we're just going to have a bunch of buttons inside of it. So we'll go ahead and create button A. Oops. So button, standard button like so, and I will again call you button A. And over here, I will use a bit of a naming convention, button A. Now we're going to have a bunch of these, so just Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, and Control D. We'll switch them as we need them. So the first one here is, okay, so we got button A, and we'll call this one play music. And oops, I don't want a center container. This is confusing because in my original one, I did a centered container and then I changed it. Actually, what I want to do is a grid container just to make my life really easy. Grid container, there we go. So there are all of our buttons on board. We probably should change out the buttons on that. Nah, I'll keep this as easy as possible. I don't really want to play around with the UI. So here we go. We'll just go with the complete defaults there. So we've got our first button, play music. All right, and now let's give this guy a name that actually makes sense in code, button play music. So obviously what we're going to do is play some music when we press that button. So in order to do that, we're going to need obviously some music. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder for storing our music file in, and our download should be done. So I'm going to head on over to the downloads folder. There we go. So here is the pack. Let me just do an extract out. All right. So there is the downloaded pack. We're going to grab just a song. Here, we'll do a victory song. I feel like very victorious. So this one, it's a WAV file. Are these all WAV files? I wanted to show. Darn. Okay, so here's the song. All right, sounding good. So what we're going to do, we'll go to our music folder, and we will open it up in the file manager, and we will dump our song over. By the way, this could be OGG Vorbis format. It could be MP3 format. In this case, it is WAV format. So there is our sound in place. So now we need something to play it. So I'm going to go back to the root node here, and we're going to go ahead and create a new player. So this is a stream. And so you've got audio stream player, or you can do 2D or 3D. We'll get back to 2D in just a second, but I'll start with just a normal stream player. So create an audio stream player. We'll keep the default name right there. And I'm just going to create a script at our root node here, and we'll call this, I don't know, sound demo. All right, so here is our script in place. Here is our button. We'll go over here to node, and we will set a button up event. So we're gonna connect that there, button up, good to go. All right, so we now have our audio stream player like so. Now I need to actually go back over here and select that, and we're gonna set a stream for it. So you see here under stream, you can set a number of different stream sources. You can do it MP3. You can actually record audio from a microphone if you so wish and echo it back out. OGG Vorbis, or random sounds. You can generate your own. That's something that's new in 3 point something or other. Now you have the ability to do procedural audio. But what we want to do is just a new stream sample. And then once you've got that, just come on over here and bring your sample file over and dump it in. By the way, when you bring audio into Godot, you have a number of options under importing. You can change it down to 8-bit. That will use up less space. You can make it mono, which again will have it so it's not stereo. It will also take up half of the space. You can have it so that it automatically loops. You can change how it is compressed. That's a trade-off of obviously CPU versus memory space. And yeah, so we've got our audio in. So we've got it attached as our sample. And now we're going to go ahead and show you how to hook that up. So go to our button. It's already connected like so. So let's go back over to our script. There is our button handler, and we're going to show you how to play audio. It's about as simple as it gets. Audio stream player dot play. And that's it. We go ahead and run this. So this is going to give us our first time. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I haven't saved my scene yet. Scene, save the scene. Sure. Go ahead and run it. Select our scene. We're good to go. All right. So now you're going to hear it. I do not know why with the dual monitor you always get pushed off screen or down to the bottom corner when you run things. Okay, play music. All right, we're good to go. So we have music playing. Now, one of those things you're going to probably have wanted to do there, though. Again, let's go back over to our script, and you're going to see you probably want to do if, and then we'll do this as a negative, not audio stream player dot playing. Then run this. Otherwise, every time you press the button, it will basically start the audio again. Not a huge deal, but probably a quick check that you want to put in place. Now, if you want to stop the audio, well, let's go ahead and go to our second button. So let's go here and we'll say stop playing. All right, so there we've changed our button out there. Over here, we'll call this button stop music. All right, there we go. And of course, we'll connect that one up. And so, create it by the default. All right, here we go. So if you want to stop music playing, it's about as easy as it gets. Audio. So you use your audio stream player like so. Stop. That's it. So here's how you can start playing audio. Here's how you can stop playing audio. Pretty straightforward on the whole. And that's probably all that most people need to do for the most part. Now, I did mention earlier on that you can have positional audio. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that already. So come back here, and we're going to create a new node. Yeah, it's right there. So we'll call this an audio stream player 2D. So we'll create one of these guys right here. I'm going to show you something else you can do with audio stream players. If you don't want to get into code at all, you can actually go ahead and we'll use the same sample. So we'll use our hero wave like so. But you can actually set it to autoplay when it's created, and you can have it play in the editor as well. So if you want to hear it in the editor, which by the way gets really annoying really fast. So I generally turn that one off, but this will automatically play. Now, one thing you'll notice, and I think this will show here, this is in stereo. What's different with this guy is it's positional. Okay, doesn't show it that way. So what I've done is I've moved it to the right channel. All right, so this one is set up in our viewport. Oh, I'm dead center. All right, so let's move this to the far right. And now we'll go ahead and play this. And it should be playing it only on the right. I can't actually tell in my recording, but that is the big difference between the positional ones. There's also one for 3D, so you can position them in a 3D space, and they will hook up accordingly and take into account their positioning, which is actually kind of cool. All right, so that is the basics of playing and stopping music. Sound effects is really no difference. They're literally the exact same thing. Now, it used to be you had stream player for doing music, and you had sample player for doing waveform samples. Now it all basically just comes down to the type of sound file that you bring in. So you'll find playing a sound effect is about as simple as it gets. Let's go back over here to our pack, and let's grab some sound effects this time. There's an ambient city one. That's a nice one to have multiple different sound effects going on. So background ambient city. Okay, we'll go ahead and download that one. This is a pretty small download, so it should be pretty much instant. One of the things I do like with Humble is you can just kind of use them as a library and download them as many times as you want, just kind of as you need it. So here is our download. There we go, 7-zip, extract to the directory. Oh wait, I just did the, all right, let's do the right one this time. 7-zip, extract ambient city. There we go. So we got a couple of sound effects here from the pack. So these are wave files again of various different locations. So we're gonna do thunder. We'll do rain. And we will do a jackhammer. Yeah, it doesn't sound anything like a jackhammer, but works for me. Okay, so jackhammer, thunder, and rain. All right, so grab each one of those things, and we will dump it over back into our project. This time we're going to make a new folder. Even though music and sound effects are the exact same thing, just to keep it logically organized, we will move them here. And I'm just going to rename these. This will make sense later on when I'm doing code, to A, B, and C. Oops. And C. All right, so there you go. So we got 3 different sound effects we can go ahead and use in our game. You're gonna notice they all imported incorrectly. Now, every once in a while, the encoding style might be wrong, and you may have to use something like Audacity to make it work. It can't be a compressed waveform audio. Sometimes that causes it to harf a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead with basically just create a new stream player. So here's, and we'll call this, I don't know, effect player, like so. And again, you just basically drop in the audio you want to work with. So by the way, you didn't need to create the stream like I did all those times. You can just drop it on there and it will figure it out itself. And yeah, that's kind of it. So let's go here. Again, playing audio. Also, button, play, effect. And we'll go play, effect, like so. And now let's wire that one up. So right here, and we will connect. And okay, good. So playing the effect, it is the exact same thing as playing music. So audio, stream, player, dot play. Now you'll notice we wired it up, so the stream that it's going to use is already defined. That was defined in the properties right here. So effect.stream. Oops, I just played the wrong stream. All right. Let's try that different. Effect player.play. All right, so go ahead and run that. And there we go. Now, one thing to notice, if I press it again, it starts it over again. So each audio effect player can have one thing going on at a time. Now, one thing that you might find interesting is, okay, how do I go about setting up the volume? Or if I want to do special effects, that kind of stuff. Well, one thing to notice with all of these audio players, so you notice the audio stream player and effect player, there is a setting here called bus. And when I have an audio item selected, such as the effect player or the audio stream player, you'll also notice we have a tab down here called audio. And here is the default mixing bus. So this is master. There's always the master. It is the ultimate output. You can define and create your own buses. We can add buses here. So I could create a completely new bus if I wished. I can add multiple buses here, so I could have like localized sound effects or regions of my game where the sound was muffled or whatever. And you'll see it sort of, this passes through. So they go from right to left, and you can choose where they go. So if I add another bus here, I could actually have this bus go the output to that bus, and then that bus go out to this bus. So you can basically daisy chain effects together. And to actually use these buses, well, let me go ahead and get rid of these 2 that do nothing. So let's get rid of those. You can think of this as a master mixing board. So now let's say you wanted to control something such as the volume. Well, we could do that with another one of our buttons. So let's do this one, volume down, like so. Alrighty. So button vol down. All right, so here how you would set volume down, and over here you might do obviously vol up. And I'm only going to showcase one because it's basically the exact same code. So here we go with volume down, and let's go ahead and control that. So we go here, we're going to press the button here, hook up a new setup there, and now we use our audio button. So how do we get a hold of the master bus, this guy right here? Well, that is done using something called the audio server, like so. So you do audio server, and then you can do, you can control different values for it. We can set new effects for it and so on. So we could go set decibel bus volume dB, like so. So we can increase the decibels or increase the decibels. So you've got an index towards the bus to use. This is bus 0. So we're gonna go 0, comma, and then what we'll do is, again, audio server dot set bus, or sorry, get bus volume dB, like so, and let's take 1 away from that. dB, it's a logarithmic scale. It's a very weird unit of measurement to work with, to be honest. So, oh, and we got to tell it which bus to work with. So master bus. So we're saying basically here, get the current volume and decrease it by 1. So this is when we press the volume down button. So let's go here, and we will play our music. And there you see, decrease the volume. Obviously, you can do the exact same opposite by copy and paste and making the plus sign, picking a minus sign into a plus sign, and that is how you can control the volume. Now, there's a lot of cool things that you can actually do with the audio bus that I'm not going to touch on right here. So I could add a special effects bus like so, and then in your, so I'll call this my SFX. All right, so what you can do is in your player, like so, you can choose which bus you want to pass through. So now this will affect it, and then it'll pass it into master. So if we control the volume at the master level, all of the buses to the right are going to have the same thing impacted to them. So what I can do now is I can start adding special effects here. Like I add a high pass filter, low pass filter, pitch shifting, reverb, and so on. So let's say I add some reverb to this bus, like so. And you can chain multiple effects, by the way. So we could actually add distortion as well. And then the things that are passed through this particular bus will have those special effects applied to them. So you'll notice if I have the effect selected down here in the audio tab, you've got control over. So you can set the size of the room for the reverb, the dampening, and so on, and ditto for distortion. You can check how the distortion is going to be done. And we could also go ahead, we could add an equalizer in here, and you can see the equalizer. You've got control over it here as well. So you've got a lot of abilities here, and you can turn these things off and on using code. Simple enough. So that's where you start getting into the really advanced features of working with audio in Godot. Again, it goes beyond what I want to cover in this video. I'm going to try and keep this one under 20 minutes. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is, remember when we played some audio here, we were actually only able to play one. I'm going to show you a really hacky way to basically spin off as many audio effects as you want by creating one dynamically. So let's do, back to our example here, we'll use our final button here, and we will set this one as play random. All right, so here we go. We're going to play our random song when that is pressed, and then we'll change you so you actually make sense. Button, play, random. All right, so when we press this button, we are going to play a random sound, and this is why I changed my sound effects to A, B, and so on. So first thing we're going to do is head on back over to, actually, no, I'm going to fire up the code. All right, so there we go. Create a new function. All right, we're good to go. And I'm going to go back up here. So when we are loading our code, so I should use onReady. I'm going to be lazy here. So audio files. I love that pun. Audio files is a new empty array, and we're going to load them in. So audio files dot append, and we're just going to preload a bunch of audio on the way in. So, oops. I should just use auto completion here. All right, let's try that again, see if I can get my auto completion back. Oh, I spelled append wrong anyways. Audio files dot append preload. All right, there we go. So we want to do A, like so, B, and C. So really all we're doing is creating an array of loaded audio files that we can use later on. And then down here, what we're going to do is when we play a random sample, I'm going to show you how to dynamically create your own audio player, which is very straightforward. I'm also going to show you how to select a random number between 0 and 3. So we're going to do var rng equals random number generator dot new. So we're going to create a new random number generator. All right, I screwed up some, no, we're good. Okay, so create a new random number generator, and then what we're gonna do is randomize our values, like so. All right, so there we got a selection of random numbers available to us, and now what we're going to do is go ahead and create a player. So var player equals audio stream player, just like what we did earlier, just without a typo, and we'll create a new one, like so. Oops. Audio stream player, new. All right, so we created a new audio stream player. Now this is a node in our world, so obviously we need to add it into our world, like so, and we'll add the player to the world. All right, so we created a new dynamic player every time someone presses this button, which, by the way, if you think, wow, that's rife for abuse, yeah, you're right. You could probably exhaust memory pretty easily here, so I would not highly recommend doing it this way without a couple more safeguards in place, or have a pool of pre-created audio stream players is a good idea as well. And now I'm going to go ahead, now that it's created, we're going to define the stream. So remember earlier on when we created these guys, you just basically created the stream this way. Well, creating a stream this way is just as simple as stream equals, and then we're going to use our selection of loaded audio files, like so. And then finally, we just want a random number. So RNG, random integer in range 0 to 2. So 0, 1, or 2, which will give us our index of A, B, or C. So this will load in the audio file that we wish to have. Now that it is loaded, we're going to go ahead and play it. So there you go. That is a way of creating an audio stream dynamically, adding it to the scene, and playing it. Now, there is definitely a problem with this in that you're just kind of keep building these things in. So you're going to probably want to get rid of them at some point. So what I'm going to do is do a yield on this player, and when the audio is finished signal, so that is a signal attached to these guys. So you can see here, if you go here, there is audio stream player has a finish. This is called when a sound effect finishes playing. And it's very handy to use for something like if you've got a sound manager. So if your song ended, you want to play a new song after, you can handle this event right here. And then after that fires, we're going to go ahead and remove the player from the world, like so. And I guess we'll print that we did this. Removed player from world. Now I typed a fair amount of code there, so the odds that I didn't screw something up are really not good. So let's make sure SFX A, wave, B, C. Okay, so we have 3 different, randomly picked between them. We're creating a new player each time we press the button, so it's going to show you how to dynamically create audio. Let's go ahead and see if I screwed something up. All right, so here we go. There's one of our sound effects playing. So that's the thunder. All right, we have a number of different sound effects playing there. And by the way, we can also play our music at the same time. And then you're seeing as the players end, as the song ends, we get rid of it. Now, if you're working in your own environment and you want to create this dynamic kind of object pool, because again, you can only have one sound playing per stream player. So if you want to have 10 simultaneous sounds, you need to have 10 audio stream players. Probably the easiest way to do that is to basically create an object pool of players and play the next available. If you've got more than the number of streams you want to have play, you basically just do an await for the next one to finish and then queue it in. What the downside to this is you can essentially, I could come down here and I don't know what this is going to do, but we could start off a whole bunch of these things. So we have a lot of different audio files playing right now. And they're going to slowly start queuing out. It didn't crash or anything so far, but eventually it may. So this is a very primitive way of creating dynamic audio on the fly, but it's also one of the easiest ones to illustrate. So hopefully that all made sense. Again, audio server, the bus is very important. That is like this kind of master EQ system. Again, you can create your own buses. Buses travel from right to left. So if I created another bus here, I could chain this one into here. So you can create your own series of buses. So you could have various different special effects in place. So if you want to have audio compressor, basically all of the things that you normally work with in a typical audio editing environment like a DAW are generally available here. Equalizers, distortion effects, that kind of stuff. And you can sort of create it so that your audio, you could have your audio muffled in a certain environment by having the audio player that's there. So we'll call this one my muffled audio, and have it say the compressor kicked in and does whatever to that audio. And then here in the player, I basically just pass it to muffled audio, and muffled audio can then pass either into my effects, or we could have separate effect buses, and this one could actually just go straight to master. So this one will fire from here over to here. So it gives you the ability to have multiple different kind of sets of controls. You can dynamically set them, and you can do a lot of neat special effects using this. And by the way, you can also create your own. It's a T-Res, so it's a typical resource file. But otherwise, playing audio is about as simple as it gets. Basically, bring your audio in, and you can start playing it. You can stop it, and again, you can handle events such as the finished event, and then fire off and do the whatever code. So again, you can have this queue up another set of music files or whatever. And the only other really final thing to be aware of is when you bring an audio file in, you do have some control over how it is encoded. You also have it, we can also bring in, as you saw here when I went to a stream, we could have brought in MP3 and OGG Vorbis files as well. And now in the newest version of Blender 3.x, you've actually got the ability to create audio from scratch. So if you really wanted to, you could write your own music player in Godot and generate your music algorithmically if that was your thing. Now, I'm way over the 20 minutes. I'm pushing up on 25, so I'm going to stop there. Again, one more reminder, if you are interested in some sound effects to check out, this bundle is ending in less than a day now. That video took me Took me a while. I'm going to upload it, so you probably got about 23 and a half hours left to check that bundle out if you are interested. The link will be down below. And again, since it's humble, if you pick it up, I do make a small commission, and thank you for that. All right, that's it. Hopefully you found that tutorial useful, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.